What's going on, everybody? It's Tyler with Tyler Talks Travel Trailers here at Albuquerque RV in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And today we're going to be touring a couple's travel trailer that is going to check off a lot of the boxes. If you got a long list of wants and needs for your future RV, I think this is a great option because it does probably check those boxes. You're never going to find the perfect RV. I mean, maybe you will, but most of the times you get something and then you lose something. You gain something, you lose something. It's always a compromise when it comes to RVs. But I think overall, this is a nice layout where you do get most of the things you want. It's also well under that 30-foot mark, so if you want to go to the national parks, you should have no issues. Usually they get a little picky at 30 feet and above, so this one is well under 30 feet. And you still have a nice big slide out, so it's extremely spacious in the living/kitchen area. This is going to be a 2026 Catalina 243 RBS. Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to two of my subscribers, JC and Rodney. Thank you so much for the 5-star Google review that you left for the dealership and I. If any of you guys get any benefit out of my videos or I've helped you in any way, there will be a link down below in the description to leave a review for the dealership and I. It goes a long way. We are between two corporate dealerships. We're a locally owned dealership, so we're putting up that good fight, and those reviews you guys have been leaving has been helping out more than you could imagine. Some of you guys live a little too far to buy from me, but if you could leave that 5-star review, it is just as good as if you bought from me. So thank you, JC and Rodney, so much for that 5-star review. Now, like always, we're going to do the specs. It takes me 1 minute to do those specs, and then we'll dive inside. Let's go, guys. So the basic specs on this 2026 Catalina 243 RBS. Your unloaded vehicle weight is 6,356 pounds. Your cargo carrying capacity is 1,542 pounds, which brings your potential fully loaded weight to 7,898 pounds. Your hitch weight is 898 pounds. Your exterior length is 28 feet 3 inches total. Your exterior height is 11 feet 1 inch. Your exterior width is 8 feet. Your tanks, your fresh water tank is 38 gallons. Your gray water tank is 44 gallons. And your black tank is 29 gallons. Your awning size is 18 feet. Let's jump inside. Awesome, everybody. Now that we got those specs done, we're going to start with the inside and work our way out. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm going to be talking a lot about features and benefits, construction. I also include measurements on the interior, so I try to give you as much info as I possibly can. And then once you're sick of listening to me, you can shut me off. But let's go inside. Like I said, 28 feet with a big slide out. Look at that slide. Woo! Doesn't that give a lot of space in this living area? We'll do a quick circle around so you can see what we're getting into. So to the right is going to be a rack and pinion slide system. So if you notice, it's nice and flush with the floor versus like a Schwinn-Tech slide where there's kind of like a step up. There's also a benefit to that Schwinn-Tech slide on this particular layout, and I'll show you that later on. I will be showing you travel mode before we go outside as well. But look at this. The lighting in here is amazing because of how big those windows are to the left. As you first walk in, to your right, you got this area right here, kind of like part of it's the dividing wall for the main bedroom. As you can see, you got sliding doors on both sides. We will open these up and kind of show you the storage you got right here. This is going to be good for like board games, DVDs, all that kind of stuff. These are going to be 10.5 by 40. 10.5 by 40 for each of those. The top one is going to be 24 inches tall, and the bottom one is 21 inches tall. So pretty decent storage there. A lot of times this is really shallow, so I'm happy that they made it a little deeper. And as you can see, you got the fireplace right here. I'm excited it's getting cold out because I could put one of these on, and it's quiet, and it also really heats this area. I actually had to turn it down because it was getting so hot in here. So as you can see, I have the temperature set to 77 right now. So it will heat this area. It made it pretty hot for me. You have different modes, like for the lighting. And then, look, you can make it like brighter if you want. That's pretty cool. And if you wanted to, you could just turn off the heat and have that ambiance going. Pretty nice. Down here, you don't have, or you do have, what the heck am I saying? You do have storage down here, but I did not measure that one. It's probably It's going to be the same like length and width as the top ones. Moving on. Behind me, we are going to start with the slide out. I've already explained it is a rack and pinion slide system. Nice and flush with the floor right there. You got theater seating and a 4-seater dinette over there. I measure what you can actually sit on. If you look at the manufacturer website, they measure the armrest. So I actually measure from the inside to the other inside. Let's see what that measurement is. I have it right here. So if you pull this down, this is going to be 4 feet 9 inches from the inside to the inside, or 57 inches. I think they say it's 67 with the armrest. So nice big theater seating right there, and I like that they give you the option to lift this up if you want to get nice and cozy and cuddle up and watch a movie. It kind of sucks when it's just like stuck down. You do have USB and USB-C plugs right there. Those are very handy because they will work without the generator or shore power. Got a little metal tray right here for remotes and stuff like that. You do got cup holders on both sides for those cold snacks. And then you do have another USB plug right there. These ones are electric. So if I hit that button, woo, dang, that thing is quick. You know, sometimes these are like really slow. This is pretty quick, and it goes back far. So there's kind of how far back it goes. Kind of hugs the wall a little bit. Pretty comfy. And then you are positioned perfectly in front of where you would put the TV. So the TV would go right up there above like the sink area. But let me turn you around so you can kind of get an idea of how far back it goes. So yeah, these are comfy. You could easily take a nap. Shoot, if someone needs somewhere to sleep, beggars cannot be choosers. So let's see how fast this thing goes down. Someone's knocking at the door. 1 second. Hold on, I'm coming. It is a little bit slower than, obviously the manual ones, but pretty nice. Those are comfortable. Over here to the right, you got your 4-seater dinette. Big enough table, like I always say. This table is definitely big enough to pull out the Monopoly board game and ruin some relationships. That is a good sized tabletop. It is 29 by 44 for that tabletop. And then let's say, you know, you have an occasional guest, the grandchild comes, or maybe someone just hung out a little too long and had too many drinks. You could plop this down to those black tabs right there, throw those cushions on top of the table, and your bed is gonna be 44 by 72. So it is 6 feet long, so easily can sleep an adult. You do have some storage below, and I did forget to measure these. I'm sorry, guys. Dang it. So those go all the way back, and you can get to it from right here as well. So that's really good storage on both sides. Like I said, the massive windows, those are like the biggest windows I've seen Catalina put on any of their trailers. They do not open though. I will point that out. You do have the windows on the sides of the slides that will open, so you can get a nice cross breeze going through here. I personally would rather have the big windows that don't open than have the windows that do open, just because these windows are going to give you an awesome view. Hopefully a little better than that. But like I always tell you guys, it's always a compromise. You do lose a little bit of storage up above, because some trailers, you know, they'll put the cabinetry above the window. So it's kind of a give or take. Would you rather have more windows, more bigger windows, or more storage like cabinetry above? I think this thing has perfect amount of storage, you know, because it is only for 2. So again, I would rather have the bigger windows. Back here, you do have some storage. This is really good storage. Like I said, I would rather have the bigger windows because look at this. Tons of storage, can't even reach the back. This can be 19 by 29 and 18 and a half. Now, like I told you, this is not an entry level trailer by any means. You're going to be getting a lot of great features and options that kind of give you the opportunity to go full time if you want, or like long extended trips. I would say long extended trips. If you're going out for months at a time, you got the washer dryer prep. Dang, look at that, with the plug ready to go. So it would be the combo. I measured these out individually. So as you notice, you do have shelves up here. This area is going to be 19 by 29. This one's going to be 12 and a half inches tall, 11 inches tall, and 13 and a half inches tall. So nice variations of height, because not everything's the same height. And then if you wanted to put the washer dryer or just take these completely out, you could take this one out and this one out. And then you got 19 by 29 and 38 inches tall. Holy smokes, it is hot. I'm going to turn this off. I'm overheating. I am not exaggerating either. This thing is cooking me. Turn that off for now. I just wanted to have it on to show you guys. So really great storage to the back for all your food and snacks right there. Moving over here to the left, we got the kitchen with tons of counter space. It was kind of hard for me to measure it because it's kind of wonky with the sink, but this is solid surface countertops. Catalina used to not do solid surface countertops, so you are getting that on this unit versus like the Formica that tends to, it'll warp over time because obviously the sink is right there, so when it gets wet, you know, you put a drying rack up here for your dishes and that water drips, you see that Formica tend to get warped and it just looks really ugly. So I kind of tried to measure it a little bit, but obviously you will have more than what I measured. So I measured from here right to where the sink starts over there. That's going to be 31 by 35 and a half. Isn't that great counter space right there? And you even have more than that because I didn't measure that little part and behind the sink. So a lot of great counter space, solid surface countertops. You even have a plug right here. So if you want to put your coffee pot, Keurig, plenty of room. You got your USB and USB-C plugs right there as well. And then you do have a paper towel holder right there. Down below, woohoo, they gave you drawers. Some companies do not give you enough drawers. Look at that. So you got a little space for your utensils. Then you have two drawers right here. This one's 10 by 11 and 4 inches deep. This bottom one is a little deeper, 10 by 11 and probably about 6 inches deep. So a little bit of a deeper one right there. And to the left of this, you do have some more storage. This cabinetry is, I'm actually very impressed with the cabinetry. Some companies, they're so cheap, you can hear that boing sound, and they're real flimsy. These are all glued and screwed. You got the raised bevel edge, small little details that you tend to not see until you actually buy it. This area is gonna be 12 and a half by 19 and 36 inches tall right there. So as we move to the right, you do have easy access to your plumbing. Did not measure this one. So there's your plumbing right there. I know you guys like to see that. And then a little bit down below. So it looks like this is where your antifreeze inlet is. Close the valve to the tank. So this is where you'll do the bypass valves right there. It's probably behind one of those panels, but a little bit of storage there to put your soap, sponges and stuff like that. As we move up top, you got the nice undermount sink right there. Either I'm doing this wrong or I don't get it. I don't get how this works. It's like I must be doing something wrong because it's just a little bit too short, I think. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But that is cool. You got a little drying tray right here with the thing for your utensils. And then the sink itself is going to be 13 by 24 and 7 inches deep. So a nice deep sink. And then you do have your cup cleaner. So all you do is stick your cup on top. It'll swoosh the water around, clean your cups. I always mention this because I think every time I show one of these trailers, the customer goes and pushes it, or the child. If you push down on it at a dealership and it's new, you're going to get antifreeze all over you. I've done it, and I did it to my manager. He had like a brand new $200 polo sweater on it, and I pushed down on it, and antifreeze got all over him. It'll shoot up to the roof, so just be cautious. That thing does have some pressure to it. You do have a metal faucet right here, and then you can pull it down to get nice and personal with those dishes. Really nice. So I need to figure out how this fits because I'm pretty sure it should come up to right here. I'm doing something wrong. So there's some benefits to the solid surface, you know, food safe, low maintenance, easy clean, durable, non-porous, stain, and chemical resistant. Really happy that they're starting to put that solid surface in these Catalinas. They're really starting to upgrade a lot of stuff on these trailers. Like I said, not entry level by any means. Yes, it does have the aluminum siding outside and it's wood frame, but stick with me till we go outside because there is some huge pros to the metal siding. More pros than cons. Some people tend to like the aluminum siding because of certain aspects of how it's going to hold up. So stick with me till the end. Like I just said, all upgraded stuff. You got GE appliances, stainless steel throughout. You got your GE microwave right here. Pretty standard. It is not convection because you do have an oven. You got your light fan combo right here. Little backsplash right there, and your 3-burner cooktop. I will say, if you are cooking here, I might add like another backsplash right here just to protect it from some sort of grease. It's nice and flush with the countertop too, so you're not gonna have pots and pans sliding around while you're cooking. If there's one thing I want you to keep an eye out for, are those stove tops where they're like off the countertop. The Coleman Lantern does it. A lot of more entry-level trailers do have that raised stove top. I've heard people super annoyed with it because your pots and pans slide around and it's obviously not safe. So do a favor for me, keep an eye out for that. It gets annoying and it's one thing people always miss and they don't notice till they're actually out using it. Decent size oven. So it'll come down to here. Obviously not gonna be able to fit a turkey in there, but you can fit some drumsticks in there, some chicken legs. So this does have your GE appliance for the oven, stovetop, microwave, and your 10 cubic foot, 12 volt refrigerator is also GE, and it's got that nice stainless steel look to it. Huge fan of these refrigerators because they cool extremely fast. I'm talking 10, 15 minutes, this thing's already starting to chill. Like I said, 10 cubic feet, so it is a little deeper because if you notice, it doesn't have those metal coils in the back. I would imagine that the 12 volt fridges are a lot safer. I've actually heard it a lot in the industry of like, the gas electric fridges lighting on fire. Like that is catastrophic. That is the last thing you want. So I'd imagine these are also a little safer. So overall, they're gonna be more efficient, safer, and bigger. Really nice fridge. I think I have it turned off. There is a switch for that over there. Real quick, I want to make sure these lights are up all the way because you can dim them. Look at this. Ooh. If you want to get the ambiance going, maybe reading a book, you can dim the lights. So we'll come back to that. I just want to make sure they were all the way up. So overall, nice kitchen setup, stainless steel appliances, all name brands, solid surface countertops, really solid cabinetry, glued and screwed. Up here is where you'll put your TV. Not totally sure the size you could fit. I should have measured that. And then on the sides, you do have added storage for those entertainment needs. Huh. Yeah, they're different sizes too, so I'm glad I measured them. These are gonna be a 9 by 12.5. The bottom one is 10 inches tall and the top one is 9.5 inches tall. Over here, you do have that extra storage. It's a little bit different. This is going to be 12.5 by 14. Top one is 10 inches tall. Bottom one is 9.5 inches tall. So I like the placement of the TV because it is at the theater seating. So you're facing straight on with it, like I said. And then if you buy a swivel mount, you can have it facing towards, the table. So if both of you and your significant other want to have dinner together but watch the TV, you could both sit on that side with no problem. There is a backer board right there, so you can screw it. Screw that mount in. Sometimes we do that for customers because they get a little nervous. But like I said, if you swivel that TV, you can kick back right here and watch it from here. Or if you're cooking, you can, swivel that TV facing towards you. Pretty nice. Now, talking about the height you have in this trailer, your interior height from the floor to the ceiling is 81 inches. That is not bad. I think Flagstaffs are like 80 inches. So 6 feet 9 inches of interior height from the floor to the ceiling. Now, talking about your air conditioner, again, this is a GE air conditioner. So literally name brand all throughout. I am very impressed with this air conditioner, and I'm not just saying that. That air conditioner is quieter than a Coleman Mach, which they tend to put in like Flagstaffs and Nobos. It is very quiet, nice low profile. Also, it has a heat pump in it. So the cool thing about the heat pump, if you want to cut the chill in here, it'll operate down to 25 degrees and it saves you up to 39% more propane. So anytime it has the heater in the air conditioner, always make sure it has the gas furnace And of course it will, there's your vents right there. But sometimes what these companies will do is they'll put an electric heater like the fireplace or just the one in the air conditioner. And that is going to really suck if you have to run a generator when you want to run your heater. So I'm pumped about, you have 3 ways to, well, I guess 2 ways to heat this area. You got your normal gas furnace, but then you have this and this. So if you're at a campground or a KOA, you don't even need to run your heater. You know, save the propane and use the electricity. Like you just saw, I had to turn it off just with that one. So if you have both of them going, you're going to be able to heat this area completely with that and the heat pump in the air conditioner. Very nice way to conserve that propane. Let's go turn it on again because I think it looks nice. So, moving on to the bathroom. Also, there is your thermostat for your air conditioner. I wish they would have done like a pocket door, but I'm not really sure how they would have done that. Got your hook for your towels. Lots of space in here to move around, get out, shower, dry off, do what you need to do. And of course, the first thing I always tell you guys to do is sit on that commode and make sure it's comfortable. It is a porcelain throne, so it's going to stay cleaner. It's also not, it's not going to make as much noise when you go to sit on it. All right, so I measured from the center to the door, just to give you a little bit of idea. You got 16 inches from the middle of the toilet to the door, but if you notice, it does kind of curve in. Like I said, I am 5'7", so I mean, I'm fine in this. You could stretch this leg out, it's just not this one. This is not bad. I like the 21 FBS Flagstaff. I think I consider that tight, but this is not bad. You know, right-handed's good. Left-handed, it's a little tighter. You might have to be ambidextrous and use this hand. It isn't bad though. I feel like most people are going to be fine in this. Everyone always asks, where's the paper towel holder or the toilet paper roll holder? They give it to you separately so you can choose where you want to put it. So you can put it wherever you feel it works best. It was kind of hard to measure this area out right here. So from the toilet to that corner, from the shower to the door, it's going to be 20.5 by 46. So like I said, you can actually move around in here. Like I got enough space, you know. Could take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Not bad. Now you do have your sink right here. Pretty good size sink. 9 by 13.5 and 5.5 inches deep. Not a ton of counter space on the sides. About 4 fingers on each side. You do have your plug right here for the straightener, hair dryer. Nice little hanging shelf right here for your toothbrushes and soap, and your medicine cabinet. Pretty standard stuff right there. And the mirror. Check out that hairdo. I don't know what it is, but I must have laid on this side of my head because it's all, I got bed head. I showered and still didn't want to comb. Down below you do have some storage, easy access to your plumbing. Not a crazy amount of storage, but there's your plumbing. And we will move to the shower. So as you notice, you do have that shower enclosure, the corner shower. So instead of the shower curtain that tends to get annoying because it like sticks to you, this is your solid enclosure. Little hard to measure this, but I did give you a rough idea of the space. So the corner shower will give you a little more room, and I'll stand in it to show you. All right, 5'7", like I said. Definitely, I'm not going to have issues in it. Skylight definitely lets in a lot of natural light and gives you a little bit more interior height as well. But not bad. I could take one big step for mankind. Kind of do the shoulders. And then the shower head is actually above my head. Wow. Very rarely does that happen. So if you're like 5'7", it's going to be perfect. It is above your head. I don't know what it is, but they always put it like at the back of my head. So pretty good space in there. Now talking about the measurements that I did do. The pan itself, like what you can stand in is what I measured because it starts to round. The enclosure itself is going to be bigger than what I'm telling you. This is just what you can stand in. 28 by 30. And then from the shower pan to the skylight, you got 6 feet, 7 inches or 79 inches. So I'm talking from the pan to your head actually hitting that skylight is 6 feet 7 inches. So if you're 6 feet 8 inches, you're gonna have a crooked neck. So 6 feet 7 inches of interior height, and it does have that wand right there, so you can, you know, pull it off and rinse off if you are taller. You do have the exhaust fan, but it is the small fart fan. Oh. What's nice is you can always upgrade this to the max air vent and the rain cover. So there is ways to, you know, swap that out if you did want the bigger vent, which is nice because then it'll actually pull some air out. Those tend to have a lot more power. They have 4 speeds. Overall, nice bathroom. This whole layout, like I said, does give you a little bit of everything. You know, you got lots of storage. You got washer dryer prep. You got your dinette for the occasional guest. You got your theater seating. So real quick, you can get the trifold sofa. So if you wanted to sleep sleep a guest again on the couch, you can. And in place of the use of this dinette, you can get the freestanding chairs. Man, I can't talk. I go on my weekend and I swear I get rusty after just 2 days off. So you can get the 4-seater dinette with freestanding chairs if you did want that instead. Sometimes those are nice because if you're bigger, you can move the chair back, but you won't be able to sleep anyone with the freestanding chairs, of course. Real quick, I wanted to let you guys know, if you're new here, every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I go live. You can even watch my lives for the last 13 weeks if you go to my YouTube and click lives. They are a lot of fun, and I think that's where most people get a lot of information all at once. The cool thing about the lives, if you actually come on while I'm live, you can type out questions that you might have. You can even say, hey, Tyler, can I see something that's, you know, 5,000 pounds and under 25 feet? And what we'll do is I show you the entire lot live. It's a lot of fun. Don't worry, no one's gonna like see you on there, but you could type out any questions you have. I go up to like an hour and a half on these lives. I go for a long time as long as I'm getting engagement, but I think that's probably the best place to get a lot of questions answered, even if you're watching it as a replay. So if you're kind of new to this, go to my lives and watch my most recent like 3, because my first one wasn't that good. Still all right, but if you go on there, you can read the comments that the subscribers are asking questions and then how I respond. It's a really great way to learn a lot about the RV industry and how these features and options work. So every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we'll see you this weekend. Just want to throw that out there real quick. It's growing fast. It's almost going to start to get a little too hard for me to answer everyone's questions. So you do have another vent in here as well if you want to change that for the max air vent, and then your air conditioner is all ducted as well. So this air conditioner is going to be super quiet. A ducted AC definitely helps with that sound. You have JBL, yes, JBL name brand speakers inside and out, and that will be over there, which I'll show you here in a bit. Let's move on to the master bedroom. Love the pocket doors, the sliding doors, whatever you want to call it, because instead of swinging doors, you're not going to be wasting space with those. So you have an entry on both sides. Open these up. Oh yeah, look at that. See how much more space it saves? So you got this side to open, and we'll open this side real quick. As you can see, you got a north-south facing queen bed, so you can walk around it. It makes it a lot easier for you to make the bed as well. So versus an east-west, it gets a little harder to put the sheets on. Also, you're not going to have to disturb your partner if you get up a lot like I do in the middle of the night. You can just go ahead and roll out of bed. You got decent amount of room on both sides. You got 16.5 inches on both sides. And then when the doors are open, you got 10 inches. So, of course, once you open them, you'll get maybe a couple more inches. But 10 inches on the front and 16.5 inches on the sides. If you have a CPAP machine or you need to bring that along, or if you're like me and you need to have 5 glasses of water ready to go at night, you have plenty of space either right here, or you have some space right here as well. This is going to be great for CPAP machines because, as you notice, you have equal plugs on both sides, as well as the USB and USB-C plugs. This area right here is going to be 16 by 40. And then from this right here to the countertop, you got 16.5 inches. So that's kind of the space you're working with right here, 16.5 inches. You do have 2 hanging wardrobes. These are the same on both sides. So I'll just open one. You got 15 by 23 and 42 inches tall. So you already got your hanging rod up here. It's tall enough to actually, you know, you're going to hang your shirts and they're not going to wrinkle up at the bottom. 15 by 23 and 42 inches tall. Man, I am roasting. I don't know why I turned it. That thing works good. All right, then you got storage up here above the bed. It goes all the way to that other hanging wardrobe, 20 by 63 and 15 inches tall. It does round at the front, so it does get it's a little bit, it's not as tall because it rounds right there. You got reading lights on both sides that you can turn off individually. I forgot to measure this, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, wow. That would have been cool to measure. Look at that. So lots of storage in here, and it's organized too, which is pretty cool. The only thing I'm complaining about that I think is really dumb is why didn't they add any gas shocks or struts right there? Look at that. How are you going to be putting stuff in and holding it at the same time? That's kind of, they should have added those for you guys, but that's something we can easily add. No problem. You can access that storage there. Man, that makes it kind of difficult. That's kind of dumb. They should have added those. And then you do have these little totes that you could pull out on both sides. Those are pretty cool. Like, it's just the little details, you know. It's not, I'm sure that doesn't cost them a lot to do, but adding that is nice. They should have added the gas struts instead of these, at least. I'm nitpicking now. So you got plenty of storage under the bed as well. Another cool thing that they are doing on these Catalinas is it already has, it's pre-wired for Starlink. Isn't that awesome? So getting Starlink is, you know, it's not like crazy expensive, but if they had to wire everything to be ready to go, that's what kind of costs a lot. So this thing is already pre-wired for Starlink in here, so you can get internet wherever you're at. So like I said, this is really, you know, if you're wanting to hit the road for an extended period of time, it has the features for it. You know, solid surface countertops so they don't, you know, get warped on you. You have the washer dryer prep. You also have a ducted air conditioner. You also have, what was I going to say? Oh, I already said the washer dryer prep. Roof mounted air conditioner that is ducted with 2 ways to heat the place. So I think the heaters are also awesome if you're going to be at campgrounds. If you're going to be on long extended trips, you're going to save a lot of propane right there. Overall, really nice layout. Do a quick walk around real quick. If you're not, hit that subscribe button. It is free. It does not cost you anything. It helps me so much to continue to do these videos. I started about 1.5 years ago, a little over a year ago, and it's growing really fast. A lot of you guys have been here since the beginning, and I appreciate you all so much. So hit that subscribe button if you can. It takes 5 seconds, and it helps me continue to keep going. So we'll go over here to the control panel real quick and show you travel mode. Okay, so you got your exterior lights, interior lights, water pump, water heater, and like I said, you can dim these lights right here. And what's cool is you could turn them off individually too if you wanted to. A lot of companies don't allow you to do that. There's your JBL speakers, and now let's put this slide in. So like I said, it is a rack and pinion slide system. The nice thing about rack and pinion slide systems are you can stop in the middle. You could stop anywhere. You could put it out partially and you're not going to damage it. Like a Schwinn-Tech slide, you want to put it out all the way or you want to put it all the way in. You do not want to stop halfway or put it out partially. And I'm going to show you why this rack and pinion slide system is so important. So let's put this in. The tried and true rack and pinion slide system. It's also known as a through frame slide system. So when we go out there, you'll see it goes through the frame. That does make your tanks potentially a little smaller, but it's just a really good slide system. So travel mode is great. If you want to stop off, make some sandwiches, you got plenty of counter space. Shoot, you could even use the stove top. And let's say you get groceries and you need to stop off and load the fridge. Bam! Nice and easy. You can get to the fridge. The only thing is the bathroom. So close to being a perfect travel mode trailer. You can get to the bedroom, so if you get tired, you need to stop off at the Cracker Barrel, Walmart, you can take a nap real quick. But that's why I was saying the rack and pinion slide system is very important on this trailer, because like I said, you can stop it partially. So I've held it for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds, and check it out. Bam. You can get to that bathroom. Look at that. How easy was that? So it's not a super big deal, because you can put the slide out partially and get in super simple. Like the slide isn't even a quarter of the way out. So we'll put it out all the way. So if travel mode is important to you and you find a layout that you absolutely love, just make sure that it has a rack and pinion slide system, because that'll make it easy. So when you're going down the road, just put it out a tad bit. Another thing I want to talk about with slides is you cannot sit, stand, or use the slide if the slide is in. It doesn't matter what brand of trailer or fifth wheel you buy, these slides are not engineered to be used or sat on when they're in. A lot of people will get confused with that, because motorhomes actually allow you, they're engineered to be able to sit on and use while you're going down the road. I don't care what anyone says, do not sit or stand or sleep on the slide if it is in. One quick thing I did not show you is this actually has a tankless water heater. So I've mentioned some pros and cons to tankless water heaters, and one of the cons to tankless water heaters is they tend to not do very good at high altitude. And obviously, where are you going to be going? You're going to be going to the mountains. And we live in New Mexico, Albuquerque, and we're at a high altitude. But do you see this little button right there? It has an altitude adjustment. I'm not sure how to use it yet, but it'll adjust up to 10,000 feet. So I'm really happy that they didn't get cheap and just get you a tankless water heater, because tankless water heaters have a ton of hype right now, but there's a lot of things that make it not so great. But this will have the altitude adjustment. That is huge. It is also a GE, just like everything else. And just to show you this little tag, so you know I'm not making stuff up. So altitude adjustment right there works up to 10,000 feet. Perfect for high altitude adventures. So just keep an eye out for that when you're buying a trailer with a tankless water heater. All right, let's go outside. Man, that heater, that fireplace works good. Okay, so you do have your screen door, so if you want to let some fresh air in. And we will start at the front. So like I said, this is not an entry-level trailer. This is a huge feature. I'm talking like Flagstaff super lights get this. That's like a $60,000 trailer. You will get auto level on this. So just hit a button. Hit the button, 5 minutes, you'll be enjoying a drink while everyone else is struggling to level their trailer. So auto level, you got 20-pound propane tanks with the cover, and then your battery right there with your battery disconnect. You do have storage under here. So like I said, traditional wood framed and aluminum siding. I'm gonna talk about why this is a great option as well. You do have solar on the roof, so it'll trickle charge your batteries, and a 30 amp solar controller. So it's not gonna run your air conditioner or anything, but it will keep your batteries recharged. And then you got the sweet lights on the front cap right there. So you can see them right there. It looks super cool at night. So I'm not sure if those are legal to go down the road with, but they look pretty sweet. Just a lot of little added stuff that a lot of companies don't do just to cut corners. But you have a lot of storage in here. I'll show you where this coil hose goes, and then your cord right here for when you're plugging in. Oh, that's cool. You even have a, what is that? Oh, that's for Starlink. So that must be where they kind of wire into it. Now, this is aluminum siding versus fiberglass. So one benefit to being this style of wall is it's actually a hung wall. This is a laminated wall, meaning they compress the walls with glue, block foam, the aluminum, your outer wall, your inner wall. The hung wall is nice because that is, as it implies, it is not laminated, so you're not going to have delamination. Laminated walls tend to have issues where they start to get wavy and bubbly. I'm sure you've seen it out there on older trailers. They start to get bubbly because the walls are starting to delaminate. And when they start getting wavy like that, that is an indication that now you have water damage and now it's all delaminating. So because these are hung walls, you're not going to have delamination issues. Another benefit from fiberglass to the aluminum siding, or the aluminum siding, a benefit is that if you damage one of the areas of the wall, you're only going to have to replace the one panel that is damaged, whereas on fiberglass, you're going to have to replace the entire wall. So a lot of benefits to both. Don't let people tell you one is better than the other. There's pros and cons to everything. Now, like I said, they do give you a little bit of everything in this layout. You got your outside fridge for those cold snacks. So you got your outside fridge and your flat top griddle right here. Check it out. So you could cook outside and not stink up the inside of the trailer. And then you do have that hose right here. So you have your water right here if you want to spray off your hose or your grill and clean it off. Spray off the dog. Look at that. Oh, okay, free, sure. Free auto level. Just buy it. So you do have auto level on this thing, and it is enclosed. So if you're someone that camps in cold weather, it's got the shield protection, enclosed underbelly. So that's going to help your tanks from not being exposed, potentially help with camping in colder weather. So see how it's all nice and enclosed, none of your tanks are exposed. You got your propane line right there for that griddle. Look at those wheels. Don't those look nice? And then you got your JBL speakers, tinted windows throughout. Might seem like a small detail, but a lot of companies do not tint the windows, which is annoying because then when you want to open your windows, everyone could see in. You do have LED lights on the awning up here, and they do change like 24 or 25 different colors, so you can have a disco going outside. But it's nice with bugs. Some bugs are attracted to certain colors of lights, so you can change the colors up there on that awning. You do have your black tank flush right here. So when you want to clean out your tanks, just hook the hose up and then there's jets in the tank for you. It is prepped for the ladder. I know, boo. But it's a pretty cool ladder. If you buy it, it's a Lippert ladder and it's at an angle. Makes it a little safer, and it also telescopes so you can store it. It's lightweight. And then it is rack ready. Let's see, it doesn't look like it has the receiver on the back for a cargo rack. You have another outdoor shower, but this one will have hot and cold water, and then your city water for when you're at campgrounds. And then your water heater right here is placed in a good spot versus by the storage door, because then that makes your storage door smaller. Like I said, rack and pinion slide system, also known as a through frame slide. So see how it goes through the frame of the trailer, and then you have your black and gray drains right there. Now, talking about the way they build this frame, this is a nice feature at this price point. So they actually use, a lot of times you'll see trailers at dealerships and you'll see rusting on them and they're brand spanking new. You know, these are made out east, you know, in different climates and stuff. And then when it snows, all that salt and stuff, you'll see new trailers on the welds, they're starting to rust. So Catalina was sick of the warranty claims. So what they started using was a bow frame by Norco. So they use huck bolts instead of welds. So that virtually got rid of all of your warranty claims on the rusting that was happening on those welded frames. So this will be a bow frame by Norco. The huck bolts are also going to be 5 times stronger than a weld usually will be. So that's a pretty nice upgrade for your frame. Woo! That was a lot, but I hope you guys got a good idea of what I meant by it not being an entry-level trailer. You got the bow frame by Norco, which is going to help with rusting, 5 times stronger. You're going to have the washer dryer prep. You're going to have the heat pump in the air conditioner. You're also going to have a fireplace. You're going to have all name brand appliances that are GE, all the way from your tankless water heater down to your microwave. So it's all name brand appliances. It's all also a fully walk-on roof. A lot of companies at this price point aren't going to let you get on the roof, and it's very important to get on your roof and make sure everything is good. You got solid surface countertops. I mean, the list goes on. You can even sleep an occasional guest Maybe the grandchild wants to meet you halfway on your long extended trip out east, and they're going to stop off and you got a nice place for them to sleep. So a lot of great ways to use this trailer, a lot of great features, and it's still got that enclosed underbelly. So if you get into some colder temperatures, it will potentially help you with that, so that way your tanks don't freeze. So if you want to know where I'm located at Albuquerque RV in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are a locally owned dealership. Our phone number will be down below in the description. So if you call in, please ask for Tyler, because I am a full-time salesperson. I am not a YouTuber. So if you call in, please ask for me. I put a lot of work into these videos. Also, if you don't ask for me, you could end up with another sales guy, because we are on a rotating list. So if you could, please ask for me. Also, like I said, link below in the description if you want to leave a review. If you got any benefit out of my videos, if you could take 5 minutes, it would mean the world to me, and it helps me continue to do these videos, because then we see we're reaching people, you know, and reaching an audience other than just in New Mexico. So that goes a long way. Like I said, every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we go live. Come jump on. It has been a lot of fun. We're going on 14 weeks of doing it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour, and I hope you have a good evening, a good night, a good morning, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.